Welcome, everyone. Today I'm speaking to Associate Professor Rena Lyons. Rena, welcome to IDLDRC 2024.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.
So, Rena, are you able to tell our delegates a little bit about what they might learn from your keynote?
Yeah, well, my keynote is going to focus on the importance of listening to the perspectives of parents, families, children, and young people with DLD. I think we all know it's an important and useful thing to do, but I think sometimes there are still challenges to actually implementing this in practice. So I'm going to look at some of the drivers for why we should listen to these perspectives. I'm going to talk about qualitative research and how it can help us to listen to these perspectives. And I'm also going to talk about what we already know about parents' perspectives and the perspectives of children with DLD, because there is some research emerging in this area, which is really positive. And then I'm going to talk about or focus on how we can integrate these perspectives into practice and research, because it's not enough just to listen. We have to then do something with what we hear. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in the keynote.
Absolutely. And I personally have benefited so much from your research through my own PhD research, listening to the perspectives of teachers and parents and speech pathologists, but also with students with DLD themselves. And I've learned so much from them, but you're absolutely right. How we integrate that into our practice is that important final step.
Yeah, and I think my interest in the topic really came from my clinical practice. When I worked with children and young people with DLD, or SLI as it was at the time, and how, yeah, they have very valuable insights and they are making sense of things in their own way. And I think it's really important that we understand that and, yeah, integrate it into what we do, because I think sometimes we might think, well, they wouldn't know, or maybe they wouldn't have anything to say, or maybe we're a little bit afraid of what they might say. So there's all sorts of reasons why maybe we don't listen to them. And yet my experience has been that they have such valuable insights, and they've certainly changed my perspective in terms of research and practice, because they are making sense of things in their own way, in the same way that parents and families are as well. So yeah, so the focus is going to be on really amplifying those perspectives and thinking about maybe how we can do better in terms of integrating those perspectives into practice.
Fantastic. I can't wait. In terms of the conference program, I'd love to know, what are you looking forward to seeing at this year's International DLD Research Conference?
Well, I've had a look at the program, and there are so many presentations I'm interested in hearing more about. And I think I like reading papers, but I like even more hearing the authors of those papers talk about their research. So there's lots of papers I'm interested in. I'm interested in the research that Lucy Hughes is presenting on co-producing research questions for DLD. So again, really involving people with DLD in setting the research agenda. Lots of presentations on day one about identification. Delighted to see a focus on narratives, which is another topic I'm really interested in. Also dynamic assessment. I'm working with bilingual children with DLD. And also the presentations on education. It's such an important link, our work on education. So again, hearing the perspectives of young people in terms of their education needs or supports, what's going to help them, and lived experience of individuals with DLD. So really nice to see a focus on that in the program as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing your presentation as well on perspectives of ICU students. But yeah, I saw it there, so I am looking forward to that. Yes.
Fantastic. So last question for you is, why do you think an event like the International DLD Research Conference is important?
I really like the kind of exclusive focus of the research on DLD. I think I like going to conferences. They're great opportunities for networking, but if you go to other conferences, you may be hit and miss in terms of whether you hear presentations about DLD. So I like the exclusive focus on DLD research in this conference. I like that it's accessible, so people from all time zones can tune in at their convenience, and that's really helpful. And I also love the international perspective. I counted 14 countries. I hope I got them all, but there are 14 countries, I think, at least represented at this conference. So it's a really unique opportunity for researchers with an interest in DLD to come together and learn and share their experiences. So I think it's a fantastic initiative. And I also like that the funding that comes through or from the conference goes towards future research and seed funding for research in the area of DLD. So lots of positives. I'm delighted to be involved this year again.
We're so thankful to have you. And I think, within our keynotes, across all three keynotes, we've got a beautiful international perspective as well. And we're coming to learn that this sort of rolling out or implementation of developmental language sort of takes a little bit of time and a little bit of thought, and is definitely culturally contextual, and there's different systems that work for different people, and we're learning from each other through this experience. So I'm really looking forward to connecting with our delegates from all around the world, our presenters, and of course our keynotes. If you haven't already registered, there is still time to register for the International DLD Research Conference coming up on the 9th to the 11th of September. The beautiful thing, as Rena said, is that you can register anytime and join in within your own time zone. There are mostly asynchronous or pre-recorded presentations with a couple of live events throughout the 3 days. You can then register for either a 1 month or 1 year pass. So the choice is yours as to how long it will take you to get through all of this wonderful professional development and learning, but hopefully it's a great way to connect with others and start to engage in this broad conversation around DLD with an international lens. Well, thank you, Rena, so much for agreeing to be a keynote for this year's conference, and we're really looking forward to sharing your work.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.